Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong Chua. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, also best-selling author, and every single day I help others unlock the potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on the show, we have a great guest. I've had the absolute honor to see this person live on stage speak in front of thousands of people. So motivational, so inspiring, and so much great energy. I was like, wow, I have to get this person on my show. Hence, I'm very, very excited today to have her here. She has over 26 plus years of experience in the people helping industry. She helps her clients overcome, break free from their life shackles. She also really focuses on not just one or two aspects, but the whole being, the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, and also the mental states as well, and providing that creative spark plug to help them get more out of life, become more successful, and become more happy as well. She is the author of the book Love Reignited, and she is a transformational coach, world-renowned life strategist, author, and clinical hypnotherapist. So please welcome somebody who's also known as the Clarity Messenger, Ms. Nancy Ho.
Hello
Hey,
there. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Welcome, welcome. I'm happy to see you.
Indeed. I'm so honored to be invited.
Well, thank you for spending some time with us. I know you're all the way from Singapore, and it's always nice to speak to people from all the way from across the globe. It's a great chance to get to know you and also learn more from you and have you share some of your stories and your expertise as well.
Sure. I guess, very, not often, okay, not often, we actually come across people that does not come from some sort of dysfunctional background. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be violence or anything like that. Somebody can even come from a great upbringing, but for some reason, mentally is still being affected, or I'm not good enough because my parents expect me, being the eldest, to be this way, or my grandparents expect me to be that way. Some sort of that kind of thing. Not necessarily, I'm not talking about dysfunctional as like it got to be violence and bad stuff, okay? Or even self-inflicted, even self-inflicted as they picked up from whether from what other people say, the media, or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So because of that, I call them the stories, our stories. So we made up all these stories, which is absolutely, to me, in my opinion, they're not true. They're not true at all. But we make it so true, or put it another way, that even somebody had a not so good event, but it's in the past. So therefore, it's not true because it's not happening now anymore. So because of this, then people tend to struggle. Often I say, right, when someone in a relationship, they struggle. When someone has no relationship, they struggle. When someone has got a great job, they struggle. When somebody hasn't an average job, they struggle. So regardless, they just struggle. And deep down, what they're struggling about, they don't know. Mm-hmm. Because the subconscious mind only detects the emotion, the feelings. So one of the thing that a lot of my clients that come to me, they call it the imposter syndrome. They are well qualified, they have the experience, they have the exposure, but then somewhere in them is there still like, oh, well, I am really fearful that I'll be exposed. I say, exposed of what?
How much of that do you think is people being afraid of others making fun of them or saying things that they don't want to hear?
Of course, very common is that people are afraid or fearful of another person's opinion, what people think of them, which this is so not in our control. Right? So I often say, no matter what, there are three groups of so-called three categories of people. One category is that no matter what you do or don't do, they have an opinion about you. Right? All right, they just dislike you for whatever reason, they just have an opinion about you, whether you do or you don't do. Mm-hmm. Then there's another category, again, whether you do or don't do, they absolutely adore you. Mm-hmm. They absolutely love you, they think the world of you. And the third category is like they're neutral, whatever.
Right.
So how do we please anybody? So the only thing to do, all right, it's to be yourself. And I just did my coaching the other day, and I said, I've given up the need to be right. But do the right things every single day for yourself. That's it.
When you said given up on the need to be right, that is something that's very, very difficult for majority of the people. Because the thing that they want to avoid most is to be wrong. So therefore, they really, really want to be right. So when you say you gave up on that need, how do you mentally prepare yourself to go, you know what, it's okay?
When I say my people, means the people that come to me for my coaching, right? So that's what I mean by my people. I told them, all right, that control what you can control and don't control what you cannot control. So opinion of others is not what we can control.
Right.
The past, the future, even the outcome, we cannot control. Mm-hmm. So what can we control? The process, the today, the present, how we show up, time and energy management, that we can control. Mm-hmm. Right? So since this is stuff we can control, so I said, don't use your thinking. Use your wisdom. Mm. People get caught up with this overthinking. All right, this analysis, they analyze and then, I need to know. As you see me on stage, I said, there's nothing to understand. All right, it is what it is. All right, just accept there are good people, there are average people, there are some people that like you, dislike you, whatever, the world. I mean, if we go to sit and talk about the world, we probably, within 10 minutes, we will just become very depressed.
Right.
Right? But we can make our world work. Right. Our own individual world and ripple effect. So it's not a selfish thing, but when we make our world work, then the ripple effect will then obviously, impact on people around us. Mm-hmm. So that's called energy.
Wow. When you talked about people always overthink, that's something that I've learned myself. I'm like, why am I thinking about this certain aspect for so much? And when you think about something so much, you tend to come up with all the negatives that come from it, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
when the situation actually happens, it usually turns out to be a lot better than what you expected. So then after that, I'm like, you know what? Don't think about it so much. It's probably not going to be as bad as you think it is.
Exactly. Even something that's not as positive. Mm-hmm. And when it actually happened, it's not as bad. Yeah. But when we go and imagine it, it's like, oh my God, there's a monster. There's a green monster when I open the door. There's going to be a green monster. Of course, that creates the anxiety. Mm-hmm. So what it is like, if we got stuck with the past, as I said, the stories that we often live by, then it makes us feel depressed. Why? Because we can't change it. Mm-hmm. And then when we overthink or we overanalyze or the what if, then it gives us that anxiety. We just feel anxious. Mm-hmm. So either way, it's not good for us. And then people missed out absolutely the present.
Right.
So they cannot enjoy their life fully. So I've got a lot of people that are doing very well, then come from great background and wealthy, they're high achievers, but they have no joy. Mm-hmm. They have no joy. They're just chasing after their dream, chase, but they're not living the moment.
Mm-hmm. I find that a lot of people who come up with the what if scenarios and they overanalyze and they think of all these situations that may or may not come up, they call it preparation. They want to be able to prepare for what if this happened, what if that happens. And sure, there's a good reason for doing that so that you can be able to react when things do happen. Sure. How do you determine where's that line of over preparedness and the right amount, just the right amount?
Right. I mean, of course, we look at things in context.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, the time for us to really use our thinking, all right, is for planning, decision making, problem solving. I think that's about that. That's about that. All right. The rest of the times, whatever that comes to our mind are called thoughts. And thoughts are not relevant. I mean, we walk down the street, right? Then we have whatever thoughts. right? They're not relevant to just whatever that just popped in. It's universal. Everybody gets that. But we cannot control the thoughts that, just pop into our head, so to speak. But what we can control is what do we do with it? So come back to your question. I've done the preparation. So there might be thoughts that could pop into your head. Oh, what if? Come on. What if? Right? So the control is, what do you do with the thoughts? Stop dwelling it. Stop dwelling on it. Right? Stop making more stories.
Right.
Stop writing a script out of it. All right. So I've done my preparation. Done. All right. So planning. Of course, one should go into acquire the skill of strategic planning. So not just at random kind of planning, right? Critical thinking. This I call them the power skills. Strategy planning, critical thinking, decision making, problem solving skills. So when you go, acquire the skills and use the skills, after that is be in the present and go with the flow.
No.
Remember Beagle, right? It went wrong. Like, I've got everything in the thumb drive, but it said there's no video. Right. But you saw I didn't panic. I was like, all right, no video.
Very, very calm. It's like, whatever, I'll just continue on.
Yeah. Then later they flashed on the screen and it said, oh, we found your video. And then time has passed, right? But I'll go, all right, we play it later. But because I didn't so-called overthink. I didn't have a script. I only have an idea what I'm going to talk about. And that's it. And that's it. But if I memorize the script and then it's not going my way, I'll panic. Oh my God, I'll freeze. Our emotional brain, which is the amygdala, will get activated. And I go, oh, what do I do now? That's what happened. So being a flow, effortless success is this program that I actually coach, and it's been phenomenal. The success, the results that this people got from this program, effortless success, is phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned about those skill sets that people should have, the critical thinking, the ability to kind of be calm and assess things correctly. Lots of people can't grasp those skill sets right off the bat. You can read as many books as you can, right? But when you don't apply it, or when you don't go and actually experience those situations, you don't know how exactly you're going to actually react to it. So if somebody came up to you and go, okay, I want to work on critical thinking. I want to work on my ability to assess situations fast and calmly. What do you tell them to do? Like, do you give them exercises? Do you give them tests? How do you help them apply those scenarios so that when it does come, they can act appropriately?
Okay, first things first, do they have these skills? And it's from not from reading the book, not from Google. You really got to learn from somebody, okay, that can impact this power skills in a practical way. Not in theory, not textbook thing. So when it's textbook, you can't apply. Okay, in a practical way, all right. So I do teach this stuff, right? So for example, in the strategic planning, I said, first, you got to know the end goal, having the end in mind. So if you don't know the end in mind, but you're going to just work from step 1 to 10, where are you going? You don't know where you're going. So again, it's like, oh, what if I miss this part enough? So if I got end in mind, okay, then I need a structure. So in that structure, what is my theme? Right? So from my theme, okay, then I need to branch out, for example, three, I always use either 3, 5, 7, but 5, especially 7 is just too many, okay? So usually 3 is good, right? So it's easier. So out of the theme, what are the 3 important pointers? Example, 1, 2, 3. Then the relevant steps. Then act on the steps.
Right.
You can apply straight away. Right, but if you go into like the textbook thing, all that, lots of theory, then of course it's very confusing and it's hard to apply. Exactly.
I found that people do so much reading that they go, I don't even know where to start to apply because there's so much different strategies, so many theories to consider that they
Correct.
end up freezing instead of actually acting.
Exactly.
Now, I'm going to ask a
Exactly.
question that's going to take you back a little.
Okay.
That is, how did you become you? Like, did you, at a very young age, you go, you know what? I'm going to be this amazing transformational coach who understands all this stuff. Was that always the goal kind of thing? Or did you just happen to find this path?
I would say actually, it's overrated to call it my calling, and it's so overrated, right? Okay. I'll put it, it's so natural for me. Okay. Whenever I pause, it's concise, precise words. The other thing is, see, people don't go into concise, precise. So they use a lot of words and they get lost. All right. So, okay. As a child, by default, all right, I kind of grew up on my own. Not that I don't have a family, not that I don't have a house to live in, but because my mom, okay, is busy going to work, and in the 60s, there's no such thing as a helper and all that, unless you're super rich, okay, in this part of the world for sure. All right. So you had neighbors to just watch over you. Of course, I have an auntie around. So very much I'm alone because my sister is 10 years my senior. Mm-hmm. So 3 and 10, that's not a lot to talk about. You know what I mean? Really. Now, of course, the gap is not there, right? So, okay. No, 3 and 13, there's not much to talk about. So anyhow, so what happened was that by default, I start to become an observer. I observe stuff, right? Those days, there's no iPad, iPhone, whatever, right? So I start to observe. Then I start to go like, oh, I can do that better, right? Then as I grow up, I don't know how it comes from. Like I tell my classmates or whatever, I said, we can play. But then if we don't do the right things, we fail, then we'll be in trouble. Right? So we say, okay, let's do enough that our grade will be above average, not average, you will fall, right? Just above average. And after that, we can play. So kind of like natural. I'm always like guiding, telling, showing, observing, learning. And one, blessing. The one thing that people must have, all right, is called a strong comprehension. A lot of people really have no freaking sense of comprehension. They can read loads and loads and loads, and then they cannot comprehend. And especially this part of the world, I'm a proud Singaporean, but then, unfortunately, people just, literally memorize whatever that they study. And then during examination, they just puke it out and they score. But they have no sense of comprehending what they learn.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, getting the main point, I mean, A, B, C. I get it. The sort of thing, I get it. That's it. So because I can comprehend, okay, or rather a strong sense of comprehension, then I make out, what works, and being pretty result orientated. So I go for the results. So it's natural. To make a long story short, so it becomes natural. Then, of course, part of my studies in psychology when I was in university, then it was just natural that I evolved. Wow. So I started as a trainer, training all this, like I said, all this soft skills. That's what I meant by this, all this strategic planning, customer service, even communication skills and all that. But I didn't think that it was good or enough. Not. Okay, reframe. I don't mean not good enough. That means not good enough to apply if you don't have the right mental state.
Right.
So after a long time training that, I dropped that and I focus on the mental state. I focus on the mental state because I'm not talking about even positive thinking. I'm talking about thinking correctly. I'm talking about, right, anything that we feel, all feelings are coming from thoughts created in the moment. It's not about the external. Okay, example. Wow, look at Fong Chua. He looks so gorgeous. He looks so smart. He's always so put together. Now, so-called, is that true or untrue? Okay, it's not about true or untrue. It's about my thoughts about Fong Chua. Right? So without these thoughts, I can't express what I just expressed. So similarly with something negative. Oh, I'm fearful of this. I'm just so scared that this happened. So again, it's not about whatever happened, but it's my thought about what if this happened. So thoughts gives us certain feelings, and especially the not good thoughts would then activate our amygdala.
Mhm.
So fight, flight, we cannot fight, we cannot flight. Third position, freeze. So it's like, oh, they panic. And panic, this panic attack kind of thing is so common now with people. And also, kind of natural, okay, to come back to your question, kind of natural, I evolve. And then, of course, I'm someone that I always step up. I can't do the same thing. I look like I'm doing the same thing, meaning like in a similar trade, in the helping people profession. But anyone that knows me know that I never do the same thing. I keep stepping up, stepping up, stepping up, stepping up.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I hope the story is not too long.
That was great. Had lots of lessons inside too. You talked about how important thoughts are, and when those thoughts leads to so many different things. Is there ways that people can work on controlling those thoughts? So, for instance, when you're talking about the first thought that came to mind, you could train that to become more positive thoughts more often than negative thoughts.
Okay, I'll put it another way. Thoughts are spontaneous. Okay, like I said early on, right? Something just pop into your head. It's not even good or bad or whatever. Just you have no control. It just pop into your head. Okay, I'm sure even you're focused with me, listening to me. Spontaneously, there might be another thought about what you're going to do later. It's just natural. It's just natural. It's nothing bad about it. So when a person realizes it, that there's a difference between thoughts and deliberate thinking, then you don't get disturbed by these thoughts because it's not relevant. Rather, you use a deliberate thinking in your planning, in your decision making, in your problem solving, and then the rest you go with the flow. So therefore, if you ignore and do not just pay attention to all these random thoughts, what I call, you have the space within. Then when you have the space within, then that's what you can choose the kind of deliberate thinking you want. So it's impossible to train the thoughts that pop into our head into positive ones. Not possible. It's so spontaneous, you don't even know what catch you. Right? So what we can catch though, our feelings.
Right.
For example, right? I'm just not feeling good today. I don't know. I'm just feeling low. I'm feeling down. Now, most people will start to think about, oh, it's my boss. It's the project coming up, right? They create all the stories. But the thing to do is when you don't feel good, is just stop. These are just thoughts. Even you don't know what it is, because it's so spontaneous. Right. Just don't dwell. Don't dwell. So as I mentioned, when you don't dwell, it's not that you're ignoring and become naive and don't bother. It's not. But you don't dwell on whatever those spontaneous thoughts. Then you have this space. Then you have this clarity. Then you can deal with what, it's factual rather than emotional. Yeah. So this is my approach.
Now,
a little different from the norm.
Normally, this next question I won't ask most people, but seeing what you do and what your expertise is, I think I could ask you this question, and that is, what is the meaning of life, and how does a person find their life purpose?
Very good question. In fact, I was just talking to my marketer the other day because I'm going to do a video and we talk about purpose. And I asked them, there were two of them. I said, what is your purpose? And then whatever they said, I said, it's a role. What you just described is a role, is not a purpose. All right. Or mothers, they said, oh, my purpose to bring my kids up and make sure they become a good person and blah, blah. I said, I get it. This is your responsibility. But I do not think you're born into this world to bring up our kids and make them a good person. So people often look at the roles and they mixed up the roles as their purpose. Okay. So to answer the question, purpose is here. All right. It's heartfelt. It's you almost could call it like intangible, but you make it tangible because it gives you that meaning.
Mhm.
So purpose without meaning is not a purpose. Okay. So like I said, I don't mean bring up the children and make sure they're good people have no meaning, but it's that role that somebody, embark on. And of course, we want to do a good job. Example, in our professional role, obviously, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what sings in your heart. All right. So then that takes you to your ultimate goal. Not the short-term goal, not even called the long-term goal, the ultimate goal. What's my ultimate goal? I will forever do whatever I'm doing now. Okay. Step up, always. No retirement. I don't know what it means. Because this is not work for me, it's my lifestyle.
Mhm.
So retire to what?
Right.
It's the lifestyle. So my ultimate goal, all right, is to continue doing what I'm doing, so-called in this, it sounds like a role, but the ultimate goal is no longer, all right, has got any commercial or money attached to it.
Right.
That means wherever people are, and I can give that helping hand, I want to do it. So it's not like I want to be, whoa, the world famous and how the whole world knows me kind of thing. I'm not this sort of stuff. Nothing wrong with that. But the heartfelt thing is like, I know I can transform people. And if that's a soul that I can do that, wow, that makes my heart sings. That's my purpose.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I love how you actually related roles to a purpose, because I've never heard that before, and I thought that was very well put, because a lot of people do mix those two things together, and making the heart sing. That's something I'm going to use.
Yep. So there you go. So when I see the results of people, right, whether it's my one-on-one clients or the group coaching people, right, when I see the results, the genuine results, right, my heart sings.
Mhm.
It's not about how much they pay me, right, but they say I can see that transformation and they move on with their life. And this is what I like to do. I don't like attachment.
Right.
I do what I can do for that person. They move on. I'm happy. I'm truly happy. I'm not someone that I keep contact very well.
Now, you work with a lot of different types of people, from
Yeah.
high success to struggling, lots of different demographics worldwide. Is there some common themes that you have seen that's pretty much the same for most people's struggles?
So do you mean what? The kind of problem, or do you mean the
Like,
kind of state?
kind of state, like usually why are they not succeeding the way they want to succeed? What's the common thing that people usually bring up to you?
I think the biggest thing is that people are just fearful. Okay, whether they fear to fail. Okay, although people say fail to succeed, but then the fact is, who would not want to succeed? But then the point is more so like, if I do, what if I don't make it?
Right.
Right. So if I don't do, then I have excuse that I didn't do. So I didn't fail. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah. So is this fear of like not the fear of not able to make it? And then of course, what would people think of me? What if I bring shame to my family? All that nonsense, overthinking, just nonsense, just nonsense. You know what I mean? Instead of just focus on one's intention.
Right.
Okay. So if only a person just focus on the intention, then you are very much in the present, in the now. Mm-hmm. So it's like I said, there are three categories, right? So if I focus my intention, somebody will still dislike me. So it's okay. Right? So somebody will like me. Okay. I don't go gaga about it either. Yeah. And I'm very tough on some of my clients. Tough love. I only know tough love because that's what I got. Okay. I'm pretty tough. But the fact that I'm being tough is not because I want to be tough. It's because, I don't scream at them or anything like that, but I'm tough, like, hey, this is your life.
Right.
I'm good.
Mm.
All right. You're messed up with your life. Go ahead. I'm not going to be a part of it. So if you're going to work with me, you got to be serious, right? Don't buy into the stories. Use your wisdom. What's your intention? What's your purpose?
Mm.
Just focus on that.
Right.
We will face difficulty, but it's okay. You have my back. Let's
Right.
work it out. So that's what I do in my life too. Yeah, I come to this age, you know. I dare not say I've been there, done it, but mostly, yeah.
One of the things that you mentioned was the fear of what other people will say.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who want to do something. They want to jump out into business. They want to go and try something else. They want to go attempt something else. But it's the people closest to them, family members, friends, who's pulling them back. Not because they don't want them to attempt it. It's just that they care for them. They're fearful of what if it doesn't work. They want to protect them. So how would you guide the person who wants to pursue it to kind of filter out that noise and still go with what they want to do?
Yeah, I just had a special dinner a few nights ago, maybe 3 nights ago, okay, with 5 people that have others that voted for them because on Chinese New Year's Eve, as you know, Chinese New Year just happened, all right, that I make a exercise for them to do. That's to come out with their significant gratitude list. What they are most grateful for. Significant, not just, oh, I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful, significant. So there were like almost 60 of them, right? So I said, you guys vote. All right, you guys vote. I don't want any part. Otherwise, people think that I become biased, right? I said, you guys vote, right? The top 5. So this top 5 would then actually share my space in my house. I cook for them. I hosted dinner. Yes, I should send you some picture.
Oh.
So anyhow, there was this particular, to answer a question, right? So this particular lady, so she's working in a bank and she wants to, and she's sick and tired of it. Enough is enough. All right, she wants to be on her own. All right, kind of doing what I'm doing. All right, okay, whether it's life coach or hypnotherapy or one of those things. But then she's been thinking about it for years. She even got herself, so-called qualified, but she's still back in her job. She's still holding on to that job, right? It's familiar, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So I told her, I said, first thing first, okay, you got to ask what you are naturally good at. Not about skills. Not about, I'm naturally good at fixing a computer. I'm naturally good at cooking. Not about skills. Again, heartfelt. What are you naturally good at? Okay. Mm-hmm. So once you know what you're naturally good at, then this fear of you will fail will be minimized because this is what I'm naturally good at. Mm-hmm. But of course, what I'm naturally good at need to back up with skills. So the same lady I was talking about, I've asked her before, what are you naturally good at? I said, well, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But my friends said, friends said that I'm very good at home interior decorating. I said, really? Why do they say that you're good at that? Because they said that I've got taste, blah, 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 blah. Then I said, nope. And I gave her a bunch of reasons why she would not make it. Mm-hmm. That sounds negative, right? But she says, but if you don't try, you don't know. And it sounds like opposite what we are talking about. Right. But I said, you must try, but try what? All right. What are you trying? So this is where people get confused. Right? So they say, okay, on one part of them, okay, I'll go try what my friends tells me I'm good at. Instead of looking at and go and do what they're naturally good at. That's what I'm trying to get at. Okay. So she went to take a course in interior decorating, all that. And then she called me after she done with the course, says, Nancy, you're right. I sucks at it. I said, I told you. I'm not belittling you. I'm not putting you down because I know you as a person. I know where's the gap. This is not for you. Mm-hmm. So what are you naturally good at? Okay. So what she's naturally good at, she's pretty, okay, just use the word compassionate, and she warms up to people easily. And she had people that would take her so-called advice. So being a life coach will work better for her, for sure, than being an interior decorator.
Right.
You see, I'm not going to make it so much details, So there are reasons why I said that doesn't work for her, the ID thing. Okay. But instead, right, friends would tell her, oh, but then, if you work with people, they will throw their problems. Then you'll get so bogged down by their problems. You may feel depressed. Then she buy into this stupid story, what she's naturally good at. So to answer your question, so it's a bit longer, but people get confused. What they're naturally good at versus what the whole world tells them, so-called whole world tells them, what they should do. And precisely what they should do is not what they're naturally good at. So they struggle. So example, like one of the things that I'm naturally good at, even besides what I've said early on, right? Example, if I read 3 books, I'm able to get to the understanding of book 1, the G's of it. Then it can be a different book 2 and 3. Then somewhere I'm naturally good at string them up and then produce it and make it fresh and new.
Wow.
Yeah. So therefore, this is natural confidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even somebody tell me, don't do it, this and that. But I know I'm naturally good at it. And it's so natural. So therefore, the fear factor will not be there.
Right.
Yeah. But if I go and look at the skill or worse of the wannabe. Okay, I want to be like Fong Chua, an investor, property investor, blah, 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 because she makes so much money and many other people make so much money and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not naturally good at that. Right. You see, sure, I can learn. Anybody can learn. But if I'm not naturally good at, what is the problem? The learning curve is very steep. Mm-hmm. It's so steep that, oh God, I can't do it. Oh my God, it's so easy to give up.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd rather give my money to you and you go do it. You know what I'm trying to say?
I'll put your name down.
So why don't I be the wannabe of someone? Sure, we all want to make money. We want to be successful. We want to be wealthy. But why go? Oh, I was just laughing at someone the other day. In a Japanese restaurant last week. I just said, why bring a cow home just because you want to drink milk? Just because you want your fresh milk doesn't mean you have to bring the cow home.
Right.
This is what happens. So people go and acquire the skill, but they are not actually good at that. Then again, distorted thinking. Right. Then the overthinking. And all the rest of that not so pleasant stuff comes about. Yeah.
I love that saying too. It's very, very clever. For somebody like you, you're obviously very, very successful in what you do. Lots of people come to you for your wisdom, your knowledge, your expertise. What is one biggest life lesson that you've gotten due to something that you failed at?
Oh, we talk about we should be positive, right? We should have a positive thinking, right? When do I make a huge mistake, a blunder mistake? I mean, a mistake like, oh my God, it's when I'm overly positive. No, it's true. Mm-hmm. When I'm so overly positive, and this is what happened a few times, right? It's when I'm overly positive, it's as if like a horse wearing blinkers. I don't see anything else. I become so, I don't mean blinded, but I become, I lose that sense of, that certain caution. All right. So say, for example, right?
Stop asking the what ifs.
Not the what ifs, but then that's why I say the deliberate thinking.
Okay.
I lost that deliberate thinking because, the critical thinking, the deliberate thinking, it's the critical thinking because I got so overly positive about it. Yeah. So moral story, whether it is negative or over, the extreme thing is not good. Yeah, anything that extreme is not good. Yeah, that's my lesson a few times in my life. It's really being over positive. Wow. So it's not about being positive. Of course, it's not necessarily negative. It's bad either,
Right.
Okay, because if so-called the sixth sense that tells you this doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. All right. Of course, we go do our due diligence.
Right.
But a lot of people, right, this doesn't feel right. No, 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 be positive. Just do it. That's being silly either.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about positive or negative, right? It's being first factual.
Right.
Being factual, do your due diligence, right? Find out the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Don't simply somebody tells you that and say, right, you're right. I'm not saying be doubtful, but just check the source.
Right.
Check the source, right? Okay. All right. Okay. And then again, go back to your intention.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really what you want to do?
Right.
Or are you doing because the Joneses are doing, it's keeping up with the Joneses?
That's true.
I live in a house coming 23 years. Yeah. But I like to believe is one of the most beautiful houses. So I'm concerned, very cozy, and I keep up with the home improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't want to be bothered to like, you must upgrade and you must upgrade. Nothing wrong with upgrade, but is that what I want? No, I want a home, a sanctuary. Not just to follow what people say, do this and this is good for you and all that. Mm-hmm. So it goes back to, again, the intention.
Right.
Yeah. So to answer a question, yes, overly positive. That was my blunder.
Something else that you're good at that I really have zero kind of comprehension on, and that is clinical hypnotherapy. What exactly is that, and what are some of the most misunderstood things that people think about when they hear that profession?
Okay, first I have to explain this. The stage hypnotist. Mm-hmm. Stage, I'm sure you've seen, a hypnotist on the stage.
That's the first thing I think of.
yeah, correct. That's why I mentioned that. That's the reason why I mentioned that. Then you get a group of people that come on stage. Then after that, finally, the last three standing, and then there will be one that's outstanding that would like really do stuff. Okay, that's entertainment. Now, are they being hypnotized, so-called, to do what the hypnotist wants them to do? Kinda. But this is about heightened suggestibility. So if you ever watch any stage show, the stage hypnotist will start playing a game. All right, a game like, you put your hand together, glue is pulled between your hand and you cannot pull your hand apart. Okay, then you watch. Then there are some people who go like, of course I can. So these people are not suggestible. There are some people that go, oh yes, oh yeah, I cannot. So they are more suggestible. You buy in the suggestion, right? So okay, so he will probably pick 20 or 30 people. You see two long rows of chairs. It's always the same scene, right? Then they start playing the game. Then you see in time, there are people becoming less and less suggestible. Then they'll ask to leave, and then the last three standing. So it's not true, but it's about suggestion. Okay, it's about heightened suggestibility. So let me define hypnosis then. Okay, hypnosis is defined as focused attention, bypass critical factor, heightened suggestibility. Okay, heightened suggestibility. So that's what it is. But bypass critical factor. The critical factor, that means it's between the conscious and subconscious mind. So-called there's a firewall. So we bypass that. How do we bypass that? Usually when people are more relaxed. So we relax the person. You're not like guarded, right? Let go, in a more let go state. So if you come back to the stage hypnosis, you will see that his suggestion is never anything that's dangerous. It's always fun. Oh, it's so cold, it's freezing, you're freezing. Right? It's very, don't mix that up with magician. It's a different story. Okay, hypnotist. So that is stage hypnosis. So what I do, okay, come to clinical later. All right, as a hypnotherapist, I'm doing therapy. I'm helping people to resolve their issue. Let's say fear of flying. But they said, hey, I've been flying all my life. And suddenly one day I just felt, scared because there was this turbulence. Then it became worse each time I travel, or each time I go on a plane, right? So on and so forth. Or fear of this, or they're stuck with that, or whatever, or childhood trauma. So what I do is what I call the regression work this life. I'm not doing past life regression, this life, where I will put the person in a let go state and regress that bad emotion to an earlier event and to the root cause. The first time, the initial time that a certain incident that happened that caused the mind to so-called react. Then the rest of the time, all right, are three goals. The three goals that would so-called activate this root cause. So once we understand where this fear of flying, for example, comes from, and what's interesting is never from flying. Yeah, it's never from flying. It's a subconscious mind of taking in the information. So for example, I have a client, exactly this fear of flying. And when I went to root course, when he was, I think, 4 or 5 years old, he was just, the children's slide, right? So there this ladder, right, to go up and then go down the slide. So as you know, the ladder, right, there's gap. So he slipped, but he didn't fall through, he just slipped. So that so-called little experience, okay, I call it little because that person is little, all right, may cause that certain trauma in that memory. Even though it's just slip and, but that slip could shock the system, the limbic system. Okay, so okay, life went on and all that. So one fine day, that turbulence sort of woke up that information. But consciously, I would think it's the flying, but it's not the flying. So that's the work that I get to the root cause. So only when we know the root cause, then we can desensitize it. All right. So therefore, the trigger will not set it off. And also what's interesting, when the subconscious and conscious mind knows it, where that comes from, 60-70%, it gets resolved. Yeah, is that powerful? Then clinical means where I'm helping people that is pre-surgery, post-surgery.
Okay.
Yeah, pre-surgery, post-surgery, psychosomatic illness, the mind-created illness. Okay, example, acid reflux. Okay, or some people have pain somewhere and they go and check out with the doctor, nothing wrong. So the mind created it, right? So that's the clinical hypnotherapist means, okay, I deal with the people. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not dealing like medical. It's not like I'm a doctor to get fixed it, but right, like I said, pre-surgery, post-surgery, and sort of some health issue, health ailments, right? That I would go back to where is that in the mind state that cause that health ailments. Yeah, can you imagine that diabetic has to do with a lack of sweetness in their life? A lack of sweetness, not sweet as like sweet stuff to eat, but the mental state.
I see.
So when I go back to the regression, it's some part in their life that created it. Wow. Yeah, even the tumor, cancer, a lot of times, again, is mind manifested. Wow. Why? Simple. I have doctors that send their patients to me. I have neurologists that they know clearly, of course, some neurologists are pretty open about it. They know clearly it's not a medical thing. Right. They'll send their patient to me. So in a very simple way to understand, our brain produces chemical, natural chemical. Feel good, good chemical. Feel bad, bad chemical. So if you feel good and good chemical, right? We have good chemical, then we are healthy, we are strong. But if I feel bad, I'm depressed over this and whatever, I feel angry, I'm frustrated, I'm always so hung up about stuff. So my brain produces bad chemical.
Right.
So bad chemical, that means what? You will attack our organs. We produce new cells. Okay, even elderly still would have new cells being produced, granted a slower pace. Then it becomes not good cells.
Right.
All right, we can even call it abnormal cells. So overproduction of abnormal cells, right? That's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's why
Thank
I'm
you for
so
that lesson.
yeah. That's why I'm so passionate. If anything else, to the word to use, passionate about my work is not because like, oh, I'm passionate about helping people, all that, but the you know what's behind all this, which not a lot of people know.
Yeah.
And they go about fixing the wrong problems, or rather, they go around fixing in the wrong with the wrong solution, whatever that might be.
Right.
Okay. So I just want to do my part. Okay. That's why I said the heartfelt thing. All right. In whatever way that I can, play my part to shape someone, whoever they might be in the universe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I could tell you're very, very passionate. We should add another title to your name, and that is like life detective. Go in and find that root cause of what's wrong and all that kind of stuff. Very, very awesome. I gotta say this time has been very, very enjoyable because it flew by very, very quickly now. I got one more formal question for you, and that is we put you back on the world stage and you have a few minutes to share with the world one message. The legacy message that everybody will know and remember Nancy for. What would that message be?
Oh, okay. We all want success. We all want to be wealthy. Some people want fame. But at the end of the day, all this has got no meaning if we cannot share. Whether we share a space, whether we share a moment with someone, even just a smile, that's sharing. And of course, in terms of monetary wise, you can share will be even great, right? But whatever it is, in essence, life is meaningless if we cannot share.
Great words to live by. Thank you very much for that.
Thank
Before I let you go, I know you have a busy day ahead of you. I got a few quick questions for you to come up with some quick answers for.
Okay, sure.
You're stranded on a deserted island, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence. What's that one food?
What's that one fruit or food, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess watermelon.
That is my
That's
favorite.
my guess.
Is there a hidden talent that not many people know about you?
Oh, I would say if I'm not a trainer when I started, or not a coach today, not a hypnotherapist, not a transformation coach, whatever, I'll be a dancer.
Gotta see you dance then.
My moves.
How come you didn't dance on stage?
It's not my stage. One day.
Next question. Your Hollywood calls and says, "Hey Nancy, you have an amazing story. We would love to do a movie about you. You get to pick who plays you. Who would that be?"
Oh, that's a tough one. You know why? To start with, I'm not a very movie person. I don't follow very much who's out there. But if I have to pick, well, I guess it sounds strange. Not a very not pretty face. Not she's beautiful, but not a pretty face. Barbara Streisand.
Nice. Barbara Streisand shows up at your door and says,
Yeah.
"Hey, I got casted to play you. Let's hang out. I need to get to know you. Let's spend some time with each other. Boy, I'm hungry. Nancy,
Yeah, because she's so unique. She's so unique. That's why I say she's not like pretty face, like, all the pretty face that fits into that whatever role. She does.
Right.
So the similar thing that I do me.
Exactly. Well, like I said, she shows up at your door and says she's hungry. What can you prepare for her as a meal that is your specialty?
Oh, roast pork.
What's that what you served a few nights ago?
Yes, my roast pork is crazily good. The crackling skin.
I can taste it already.
By the way, I'm also very good cook. Very, especially fusion food.
I believe you. And I'm not going to ask you more food questions or else I'll get very hungry. Last question. Give me a number from 1 to 4.
3.
1, 2, 3. So if you were to relate success to a keyboard, How is success like a keyboard?
How success is a keyboard? How do I'm not, sorry, I'm not understanding the question.
How would you use a keyboard as a metaphor for success?
Okay. Play it the way you want it. Yes. Don't let people play you, but play it as you want it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank
Yes.
you very much. That is how success is like a keyboard.
Yes.
Is there any last words that you would like to share? And also, what's the best way for people to contact you?
Okay, sure. The last thing I'm gonna say is thank you, of course, Fong. Thank you very much for inviting me. Is my honor. Okay, indeed, and there's so much all of us can do, and let's do it together. And we are all the same. Why we are all the same? When we cut ourselves, we lose out blood, and the color is red, regardless what's our skin color.
Right.
Right. So since we're all the same, there's no need to create differences, but let's all be humble, be compassionate, and then just love. What else to do? Just love. All right. You can contact me through my email, nancy@nancyho.net. Easy.
Awesome.
nancy@nancyho.net.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Make sure you connect with Nancy. Lots of great insights, lots of great wisdom as well. I've had a great time talking to you, and I've learned a lot. And there's a lot of stuff that you talked about that I'm gonna hold on dearly because I thought it really struck myself and something that I'm going to use for a long time. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good
For
day.
everybody else, she's Nancy. My name is Fong Chua. Until next time, today is the way to unlock your peak potential. We'll see you later.